Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good night.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi. I miss you so much, really. We cannot stay
Me
without you for
too.
so long.
Welcome to
How are you
our
doing this week?
13th Pillar Society.
Yes, yes. 13 Pillar Society. And today we are in pillar number 10. I cannot believe it. We got three more to go. Ecology
Yes,
and decontamination and conscious agriculture. We talked last time a little bit about that, and you were out not with us, and we miss you so much. We cannot do much without you. uh, so, how, so how's thing with you?
all okay, all okay. Waiting for this pillar as well. I was looking for the header saying 13 Pillar Society.
Yes, yes, yes.
So today we have the pillar number 10. Yeah, 13 Pillar Society. Wow, thank you.
Well, going over all these weeks for each pillar, it gave me a lot of great energy. I felt like I'm already living this moment, in every single petals. And I realized really so many people thinking like us, and there's so many information online regarding all the subject that we talked about. We find great information. I really wanted to thank the group, the team that working together with all this information that we can provide for everyone. Um, and really trying to live happily ever after in a new community where we can appreciate everything around us. So it's a grateful thing. And today we're going to learn more about ecology. And then these kind of thing that we're really going to talk about, it's maybe we have mentioned it before in the preview pillars, but today we're going to go deeper into each single face of it, and see the connection between this pillar and the other pillars, and how our life can get together in a 13 pillar society of peace. And why it's 13, you're going to find out when we start talking about this pillar today. We have great information, so stay tuned.
Because when we talk about pillar for peace, I want to remind everybody and myself is peace with myself, with others, and with nature. So we have two pillars called the green pillars that take care of that because we can't live without that. So we have, as usual, videos. We have a lot of nice pictures and a PowerPoint. I want to thank the team because yesterday night we were receiving so much information. And of course, it
Yes.
will be a summary. It's a very long, I mean, there is a lot to talk about. But we try to our best at least to make some consciousness and put some lights on that and see what we can do. Shall we start now with this,
Yes.
or do you have some intro first, Kausar?
Well, the main thing that I wanted to say, it's all in a slide, but I just wanted to tell you that all the information that we're gonna talk about today, it's gonna be on the little booklet that we're gonna offer at the end of this 13 Pillar Society of Peace sessions, and
Yes.
then all
In
the
English, and I
details gonna
promise
be
in
more
Spanish
there.
too.
Absolutely, and it's
And at
already in
that point, it
different
won't be a
languages.
booklet. It's going to be a big
It's a
book.
book.
It's going to be.
It's already we have so much details. I know sometimes we skip some information because the time is limited. Sometimes we go over 2 hours. Sometimes our time is limited. We get between hour and a half, but there's a lot there to learn. I know if you like the subject, please feel free to check and search and call us, email us with all these details. The connection between all what we're going to talk about today and the subject is really clear, because we cannot live toxically in all level, as you were mentioning, in the self and the environment. We're all connected. We cannot separate ourselves from the environment, and if the environment clean, we are clean. And then the reflection of all that and on us on all level as well too, as we were mentioning this before. we can realize how important it is to live in a green area. And most of the research that we realize that over 30% of the research that we find about the green area around you and the workplace can reduce a lot more stress and depression on a lot of people. It's not only from cleaning and detoxifying the air around us. It just brings more stamina and more happiness to the self, just by living in nature, and trying to urbanize our life between the walls, and just try to have more green in everything. And this petal, especially, it's a green petal. It's the first green petal. So pillar. And between all that, we're gonna realize the old days that we used to live with our grandparents. It used to be um, more organic than ever,
It
and
was.
we're gonna see
It
that.
was.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
And all this information, the 13 pillar, we're right now setting up the curricula. We are going to call it Curry Cosmos, which is the
Yes,
syllabus for what? For the multi-use, the multi-university, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 for
wow,
peace. So we are starting this year. We started online. This is part of the program right now. But now we are going to have physical university this year. So we are
and
very
it's
excited.
so
So
it's
all
so
this
much fun
material
to
will be
find.
offered to
Yes,
everybody,
yes,
to young people, and freely on YouTube as well.
it's so much fun to find a university already exists, and we're gonna see that, and studies and a new major. So a lot of people going in for a new major and then a new university, and especially using all the tools for the new technology, especially when we talk about low tech and high tech. And then we're gonna see it here on the university with a different major, combining all this together to bring out the best for it for our life, really. So I'm so excited for this multi-U, and I'm sure that we're gonna tell you more about it, about this project, and we're gonna tell you more about this multi university, and want you to be part of it as well too, because we really wanted to grow all together on that.
Yeah, yeah, it goes all together, the books, the university, and our own life. That's why it's
Yes,
everybody looking, watching right now, and afterwards will we have this, will be involved every day. Don't worry, every day we are
green
co-creator of that.
pillars.
Before we
Yes.
start, dear Kausar, I'm going to translate the comments. I'm so glad people are
Okay,
already connected and sending your comments, and you can put it in Spanish, in English, in any languages, because I will translate
great.
from Arabic and from Chinese or whatever. Noemi Paymal, I want to do an interview. I want to do an interview with you. I would like to be in contact with you. So no problem. Giovanna, who is always
Yes.
in the backstage, can put it on the comments how to get in touch with us. And of course,
Great.
we can do an interview and many things together. Our pleasure. And at least in Spanish and English, you can always count on us. So for the, let me see if I can put it bigger, maybe like this. So just to remind you that now, yes, we are in our famous 10th pillar, ecology, decontamination, and bioagriculture. I want to remind you, we already cover 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 pillars, which is health, sport, high tech, low tech, quantum tech, medium tech. That was very nice. Ancient tech, education, geopolitics, but the new one, peace culture, social multi education, art, and bioarchitecture, which I really liked. And I want to thank you for these 2 programs. I was away. I was with a workshop on extraocular vision, which is the kid they can see blindfold and they can see with their forehead. That's very interesting from No Espero. And now we are going to cover the 10th. And next week, we will go to alternative energy and clean means of transportation. I love this one too. So next week,
Yes.
impossible to miss. This is, it's going to be a new area. When we do all these petals, It's not that something in the future. It's something about starting right now. This is why it's so exciting too.
Yes.
Then who wants to start with the ecology?
Ecology. The Latin echo mean home. So, and this is this come in case the earth is our home. So, if we really consider earth as a home, we have really to take care of it, clean it, and keep it a safe place for us to live. Ecology is a study of organism and the environment, the study of relationship between living organism and their interaction with the nature, natural or development environment. So, so basically, it's the study of everything around us.
And remind that it's not we take. I mean, we take care of the planet because we need her. It's a living being, so
Yes.
it's completely different. Actually, in my country where I live, in Bolivia, or my adopting country or adopted country, there is a law, and it's the law defending the earth. So she has her own law. This is interesting as a being. She has her own rights, and we have our own obligation towards her as a being, as a human, as a
Well,
being, as a being.
most the problems we see in our society, everywhere, all around the world, is the misconceptions of and it's the less awareness about the subject because people doesn't know the real meaning of living together in harmony with nature, and especially if we get to keep it clean and all that. You see people cutting all the trees, or you see if, throwing littering here and there, and especially in third world country, you see a lot of um, sorry, somebody's calling. Okay, I just have to
No problem.
hang up. Okay,
I'll go to the next one.
so you'll see that. Oh, I love this picture. So we're all connected. Not no even from the little small bug into the elephant. We're all connected somehow. And as you see in the pictures, the connection between all this and even human it exists on ecology, and this why that we really need to take care of each other, from the smallest things to the biggest thing, even to the trees and grass and roots and water and all on the air. We're gonna see that on the next slide.
Yeah. And realize we are all connected. We are one. I mean, it's not a nice
Yes,
metaphor. It's true. It's really true. So, with all this program, this is the other goal we have is to create consciousness, to create consciousness, to create consciousness, to live better, to have a better way of living together, to have peace on earth. So you see, it's building up each time. And we can't separate all the topics. Of course, we put 13 pillars because it has to be in order, especially when we will do the university as well. Not will do, we are doing. And but this way of growing consciousness, wisdom, solidarity, inner peace is all, how do you say in English, intrinkled, intrinkled,
printing. Yeah,
entangled.
I think this is the blueprint for all the living thing. Because if we don't have a platform that we can really take care of our existing, and this is what happened lately. Now we're going back to what we were before because we really messed up so much time. Yeah, I love this picture actually. Um, um, when we say wrong, we consider a human as the top of the creatures all over the earth, but it's wrong. We're all connected to each other, and we're all together on this earth, and the universe even. The human being is not on top of that, and as everybody think and consider, we're the smartest being. Actually, the small bug has a mind as much as we are. So, and then if you really, if a lot of people love to watch the Discovery channels and the life of the animals and plants and all that, and we realize the consciousness of every single thing God created, it's way high than we cannot still know and talk about it. Because and what separates us from understanding all this is the language. The plant has their own language, the animal has their own language. We don't speak the same language. We think that we're the smartest, but we're not the smartest. And the
Yeah.
only language that connect us is the frequency. And we talked about frequency so much before. And what I really need to say here too, it's not only frequency, it's the consciousness. If you remember the time of hurricane or the time of the huge big storm, the pet leave, the animals leave the area before the human. The human doesn't know the storm is coming or the earthquake is happening. And you realize all the animals running away and they feel it before anybody else. So they do have a higher consciousness as much as us, and we really need to live together and understand them more and see how we can save our earth from all the pollution. And we're gonna see the contaminations and see how we did contaminate the earth by the way that we were living lately. So going back to that, we have realized that, and we're trying to stop this from happening. And we realize there's so many organization all over the world trying to stop the contamination all over the earth.
Mhm. Can you imagine, dear Kausar, on the left picture, the wrong one, of course, man is
Yes.
above woman. Can you imagine?
Oh my gosh, yes. This
Did
is
you
even,
notice that?
oh my
And on
God.
the other side, the round one, we are all the same, and it's moving. Nobody is
It's
superior or
moving.
inferior. It just interlink, and it's beautiful, and
Yes.
it's a full respect, and I love it. Again, we are one in a very deep
Yes.
sense. I mean, it's very, very, very beautiful, this concept. So this was started by Nace and Carson, and
Oh.
then Cecilia.
Oh,
Hello,
hi,
Noemi and Kausa.
Cecilia.
Thank you million for one more program to our collection of the 13 Pillar Society. I love nature and we are deeply loved by her. Lots of love. And I'm going to
Hi.
translate this one. Greeting from Veracruz, Mexico. Very interesting information.
Wow.
All the petals, all the pillars are beautiful. This is very important right now. Hugs. Thank you. Yes, and please go
Thank
on
you
to
so
put your
much for the
comments
comment.
or afterwards in YouTube, Facebook. You can always put your comments as well. What you do for all the new society and where you are from and so on.
Um,
Thank you.
I like,
I
yes,
love
I
when
like it
people are,
here.
yeah.
I like it here when you said deep ecology. When we talk deep, it's like you're talking metaphysical science, because you go behind the the normal reason that we see in the surface into the deep reason, and we try to solve it to live in a beautiful harmony with each other. As we were mentioning, when I say each other, I don't even only consider human. We consider everything in nature. So inherent value, diversity, vital needs, population, humanitarian aspect, policy change, quality of life, and what was the last one?
This one is
Obligation of
amazing.
action.
Obligation
Act
of action.
of action.
This is what I like
I
about deep
mean,
ecology. You can see on the website and Amazon, there is a lot of information and many
gosh,
books
yes.
now with different angles and views, but it all goes to the same point, deep ecology. So we
And
invite you to
we
explore
all
more here.
yeah, I mean, from this we really consider the quality of life. The quality of life we used to live before, we thought it was kind of low. Considering now the technology and all what we see, we think this is the highest form of lifestyle. But believe me, people in old days, they think there were no technology, they didn't know about disease. It wasn't the case. There were no disease before because we didn't live the same style that we live now. We created the disease. We created the most of the stuff that we live in today. The problems that we created, we create ourselves. We didn't have this in a long day. not because we didn't have the technology before, because our life. Okay, so now the lifestyle that we have adopted bring all these problems to us. So we're really trying to emphasize that and go back to what we have before. Prima culture,
Yeah,
Bill
we
medicine.
have to
You were
mention it.
talking
We have
about
to
this
mention
guy.
Bill Morrison because he was
I
such,
want you to tell
such
us more about
a
him
great
because
playwright.
I don't know him much. Maybe you know him more than me.
Well, he started the entire things. Now he passed away, but it starts like 140, 50, uh 50 years ago, and it's a huge
Okay.
movement all around the world. And they involved many young people and communities, and it's very complete. Look, it's about buildings, technology. It's very similar to the 13 pillars, by the way. The education, the health, well-being, spiritual well-being, finance, economics, land and community governance, land and nature. What's the meaning of this? Stewardship
Stewardship.
and care for nature. So he had this all this proposal, and it's all over the world now. So
And I like how he put the
there is a lot
spiral
of
and
books,
connect them all.
very
Yeah.
practical. Sorry, go ahead, go ahead. Sorry.
I
Sometimes we
like the
overlap.
spiral.
So
He
sorry,
connect
it's
all
the
the
delay.
the spiral. He connect all the dots together, and this is what we're trying to say. I mean, when we say 13 pillar society, we cannot separate one pillar from the other because they're all connected to each other. Very much the same what he have done here, as we speak. So we cannot I mean, disconnect one thing from the other. So it's a spiral movement, and we talked about this last time when we talked about the shapes and the secret geometric shape. Everything flow, and especially the universe flow in a clockwise direction. And when the plants and the planets, not the plants, the planet itself, retrograde, it means they flew at the opposite of the flow of the earth or the universe. So basically, we're always running in clockwise and connecting the dots with each other. And this is why I think the consciousness for this person connected with our consciousness following all this pattern. And it's fantastic, really.
Yeah. By the way, I left the email if somebody wants to be in touch
Great,
with
great.
me in Spanish or in English. This is the
So he
books
has,
of Bill Mollison. You can't find so many books, and it's very practical. How to cut the wind, how to restore your soil, how to plant your carrots, how to have a better communication in the community. It's wonderful. And then we go to decontamination.
yeah.
That's a lot. Only this by itself, it could have been only one program, but we had to go on. But when we think about decontamination, it's water, air, soil, the space, upper space, and nuclear waste. So we can start with water. The good
Yes.
news, there is a lot of machine and devices now to clean the water, the rivers, and the ocean. This one is one example, ocean cleanup,
Mm-hmm.
and invite everybody to prevent it because it's nice to clean up. Of course, we have to. It's our responsibility, full responsibility. Invite all the government to do it as well and the local
Well,
communities and to prevent
after,
it, which is don't throw your plastic everywhere
yes,
because it will end
exactly.
up
I was,
in the water. It would end up in the river and it would end up in the ocean. So
a lot of
one,
countries
don't
now
use
banning
plastic bag,
plastic.
or two, destroy it. Don't throw it away. Sorry,
You know,
again,
now
we overlap. Go ahead, Kausar, please.
it's okay. What I was saying, when you talk about plastic, it's a lot of countries now, especially the state, trying some of the states in the United States trying to ban plastic completely. No more
Better,
plastic use. So
better.
You know, over the time we realize not only we can decontaminating the ocean and the nature, the effect on plastic and Tupperwares on our health is not good at all. So it's not good to keep the food on the fridge on the plastic because it can even decontaminate the food itself. So it's not healthy to do that.
Yeah. And the water, you can have,
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you here.
Oh,
Let me see.
yes.
Yeah, this is a
Glass.
glass. So I have one container and then I put it on my glass bottle
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
don't
And
want
I
to
got
use that
this
much
copper as
plastic
well.
bottle.
I got this copper too. The copper it can detoxify the
It's even
water as well
better.
too. Yeah.
So of course, every one of us we are involved and we can make a big difference. Above here, you can see this panel solar, and this is like it's pulling water, and it will clean water. And with this device, you have clean water. You can have it in any community. So we can invite as well local authorities to get this kind of device and get water for your communities, clean water. It's a good inversion. I mean, sometimes we invest money in things we don't even need. This is vital. Get good water for your communities. Then we
Yes.
have, this is a big operation to clean the ocean as well. See, these kind of news are not in
Mm.
the normal news. It's with us, the
Yes.
parallel news and information, because these are good news, and we can invite young people are so creative. They are the one who usually find this kind of device and do it. Don't talk about it, do it. And this is something we saw. We remember when we saw high tech, low tech. We
Yes.
saw a couple of very
Yes.
nice
Yes.
devices and techniques, and this
They
was to
collect
collect
the fog.
the fog. And
Yes.
when you collect the fog, especially if the air is not contaminated, the water is drinkable or drinking water,
Drinkable. Yes.
and it's good. And it's every night you can have your water. So it's a good investment for your local community or for a private enterprise. You can provide water to the inhabitants where you are. There is always a way. And this one is very important. The contamination with the toilets. So we can have, of course, there is a lot of like, how do you say that for the countryside to have special latrine,
I
but
mean,
this one is for the town. This one it's called nanomembranes. You can type nanomembrane or membranes, and it will convert the water of the toilets in clean water and in the ashes that you can use for farming, for instance. So this is pretty good. I will recommend this one, or do your research, whatever you have in your country. That's consciousness. What do we do with our waste? Air. So, Giovanna, do you
wow.
want to be with us and you talk about air? I know we saw a couple of, yes, you're here. You're on. Huh? No.
Yeah, Giovanna.
Remember we had, hello, Giovanna. Good to see you. Remember this
Oh
program, we are
God.
always 3 person and all team searching. So thank you,
Yes.
everybody. Remember we had a couple of ideas. Your microphone, where is it?
Yes. How are you guys? I'm here. Yes, for for the air, I have seen that several constructions like this skyscraper size air purifier in China, that
Mm.
instead of building or doing some other buildings like to pollute the air, they are constructing this skyscraper that is actually a greenhouse as well, that helps to clean the water, to clean the air. So it's located in China. So that's what I know from that. And there's several other systems that are doing. I have seen the ones that we showed last time, where they are building these eco buildings, the
Uh-huh.
green buildings. So I'm
Yes.
thinking that those are the most. We don't have the pictures right now because we have seen all of the other the other
The other
program
day.
we,
Yes.
yeah, showing these ones. But green buildings, I'm thinking that these are actually dedicated to clear the air.
I just
Yes,
Yeah, and
I,
again, it's to prevent.
yes,
I
yes.
just
So
want to
we will
add.
see that
I
when we
just
meet
want to
for
add something.
transportation next week. Kausar?
I yeah, I actually I just want to add something to what you mentioned. Here in Lebanon, especially in Beirut, we were having problems with the trash, and we were trying to get the people to recycle it, and especially now. We've been talking about this for years, actually. And the thing, all over the countries, they're trying. They do burn the trash, and the fume it comes out into the as you see the pictures, half of it clean and half of it dusty. And this fume has a lot of decontamination. So many different elements, contamination element from heavy metals to different kind of thing. And then the effect on us is really high, and we don't even see it because it's very tiny small, but the effect is really high. Most of the people now, when they related the memory loss to heavy metal, or related to the toxicity on the air to our health, and especially cancer cell, because they have a lot of free radicals, and these free radicals we inhale it and it goes into our lungs and create all this disease. So cleaning the air using all this green building, as you were mentioning, Giovanna, it really it's a must in most the cities, because just living in between all this pollution, it's increasing the cancerous cases, and really it's going up high. So we really need to clean our air and keep it fresh, and
Yeah,
from time to time just take a break and go into a beautiful nature and just have a really clean a couple days just to refresh our body and detoxify it as well too.
and detox.
Yes.
Look, everybody's helping. Thank you, Cecilia. Do you want to
Cecilia,
read
hi
that?
Cecilia.
Do you want to read
uh,
it?
oh yeah, we were asking environment store ship refer
Yes,
to the
people are answering.
responsibility using and protection of the nature environment through active participation in conversation effort and sustainable participant by actors. Oh wow, that's amazing thing.
Thank you,
Yeah, we didn't know that.
Cecilia. And look what he said.
Thanks for this learning
Oh
space.
wow.
Yeah, I
Yes.
just learned what environmental stewardship is.
Yes.
This is
Yes. Thank you.
co-creation. I love it. And please keep on putting example, things you find on internet, things happening in your country. This is really a co-construction or co-creation, I will say. So after the air, the soil. Giovanna, that's your pictures too. What about the soil?
Okay, so what we're watching several movements, in this time, that by for saving the soil, for restoring the soil. And actually restoring the soil is one thing, like now all the soil is depleted from these nutrients, and it's washed. And but there's 10 ways to save the soil. I would say 10 ways in which we can preserve the soil, no, the soil that we have. And in farming, they have this no-till farming, and I had a hard time
Wow.
understanding what till is. But actually, they don't want to remove the top layer of the soil after the crops, but they want to leave it like that. So the soil doesn't stay in a bare dirt, but it's covered and protected until next time. So they found that this is a very good thing. Then with the practice of contour farming, they saw that they can just do all these crops following the shapes of the land. In that way, they prevent that land to be erosion, and the soil to be losing the nutrients. So And that's what I like that one. You know, in my country, when you fly, you can see several, so several of these ones. So, and then the terrace farming is the same idea of the contour farming. You know, just to prevent and that the water is flowing in several different ways, and it doesn't flow in just one way, and it stops from losing the nutrients. So, and you can go ahead to the other ones. Yes, and here it's what we can do at home. And what we can do at home, I love that this one. In the first picture where you see these pave, those are these panel stones that instead of having cement, you have those, and you have it with some gravel or some sand. So the water just can go deep and then just pour in the soil instead of just flowing away, and then and also you can have rain gardens. And I love this thing because you know they just plant the garden to actually do not even waste the rain, but you can even have containers for the rain to gather. And also the land is planned so the soil doesn't is not loose, is not lost. And you can always install a rain barrel and take advantage of that to garden your plants, to water your plants, and everything. And that's one thing that you can do at home, you know, and teach the kids. Yes.
I
And
just want
yes.
before you move to the next one, actually, for the rain barrel, and you wouldn't imagine over the summer in the States, a couple years before, we have really a little drought. They were not letting people
Uh-huh.
collect the rain, and they were saying this is against the law.
Oh my gosh.
They don't want them to collect the rain even, you know. They think it's the rain is belong to the whole community, not for you to collect. So
Oh my
there's some stuff.
goodness.
It's really funny when you get to talk about this, you know.
Yes, yes, I can imagine. Okay, I'm thinking that it's different in different kinds of the
Yes,
world,
absolutely.
but you know,
Yeah,
definitely that's a blessing that we have the rain
yes,
for all of us.
yes,
Yes.
definitely.
Okay, so for the next ones, it's like when you can plan actually what you're gonna do, and I have seen this, and I find this very interesting. In the first picture, what what they do is they plan a windbreak. It means that those trees that are in the back, they are protecting the
Yes,
house, the building from the winds, and they are protecting also the land, of course, where the building is, from the winds. And in that way they protect from lose also loss of soil. And also with these windbreaks you also save energy, not only the soil but you save energy because the house is protected, no too cold, no too hot. So, and then there's some plant strip buffers along stream banks. You know, these little plants that grow. I didn't know what the purpose of them was because we see these very often here in United States in the national parks. But these bushes that are along the streams, they have one purpose, which is to protect you know the all the stream,
Flora.
protect it
Yeah,
when there is going to be a flood or something like that. It just keeps it in shape and avoids the erosion and avoids it. So it's very interesting. And then restore the wetlands. I understand that the wetlands are kind of these lands that are like a sponge that are soaking. So these are trying to keep those kinds of lands, and finally trying to reforest. I mean, reestablish forest cover. There's so many programs that now around the world that are actually planting trees and trying to make more forests, like a plant more forests. So and that these
They,
to prevent erosion and to prevent also this. So I
Yeah.
haven't seen this a lot.
And Giovanna, about the street buffers around the banks of the rivers.
Uh-huh.
and you know,
When I used to
mostly
work with
countries they
indigenous people in Colombia, for instance, it
Uh-huh.
was a law by indigenous people from ancient time. Always, it was like that. It was forbidden to cut any trees or small trees along a river. They had to protect 5 to 10 meters along every kind, any banks. You have to leave all the trees. So it's as well a good idea to see how it was done before because it was very wise. What kind of trees they used, what kind of mixcla, how they would mix the
Yes,
different plants, and
exactly.
what was the law and the myth because it was always about to protect nature, to
Yes.
live with her. So
And,
that's
yeah.
another thing I wanted to comment.
Yes.
Do you have more about the
No, I'm thinking that
I
that would be the one thing that I would say is like when you think about soil, that's what comes to me right now. And you think about you and your body, okay? Because I don't know in what program we mentioned, but we know that all the elements in our body are the elements on Earth and on that soil that we are protecting. So
soil?
that is kind of shows the kind of relation that we have. We are part of this living organism that is the Earth. We are part of it, and then in all of the elements that are in our body, it shows that to us, proves that to us. So if we are just not it's not just saving the soil, we're saving us. We're saving us by doing all of this.
We're
I
saving
just
us.
wanna, yeah, I wanted to
Fariha,
add. Fariha, hi
loving the
Fariha, we love you.
program and the topic today. Thank you. You gave us so much information
Yes,
Yes,
about.
thank you, Fariha. It's part of our team, and then Fariha is a very important part of our team, and we appreciate it. Thank
And
you for all the
she's a
information.
tremendous researcher. She always have a bunch of new things. Like
Yes,
all young people, they are up to whatever new, innovative,
we
creative,
love you.
they are on.
Yes,
Thank you, Fariha.
all the love to Fariha. Well, I just wanted to mention something about this picture. You know, when you mentioned plant windbreak, they put this as insulators as well to prevent the bad air to come to the house. It's like a filter as well too. And when we mentioned something about the restoring wetland, you know, most the wetland or the rivers. And now you see a lot of building a lot of new homes around it and different area and all these new generation, they're not having really good uh, structure for it, especially in different countries. And we realize all the sewage is opening to the river, and there is no filter for it. So the most the water in the river is contaminated and it goes back down into the soil and goes back down into the ocean. And this is another thing that most the countries trying to eliminate days, and especially all the big NGOs trying to go over this kind of information, providing tools like filters and stuff for especially for the big factories. They use all this kind of material, and this material is really it can kill a lot of species into the water as well too, because it's run into the water and changing the environment for it. So we're trying to put filters for that and trying to set a protocol for the government to stop letting people do such a thing. And most of the people, they didn't even realize all this kind of thing. I don't know, it's just they're not aware of that, or the government is less caring about this kind of thing as well too. So just by talking about this and setting awareness and setting rules for the governmental rules for that. It's what really we need trying to aim for to stop that.
That's good.
And space garbage.
Space. Oops.
One day we will have to clean up all that.
Uh,
It's really
It's
not
a lot. It's a lot to say about that
okay.
as well too. When we see all this garbage and flowing, they're trying to say now they're going to collect the garbage. We don't know really if they're collecting the garbage or creating a new era for space. You don't know. There's so many things that they're trying to use this technology for good or bad. But what we're really aiming here is really to save the environment and save the earth and save the whole thing that we created. This is really when you look at that, I mean, and you realize human have done this. Oh my gosh, it's bad.
And this one is bad too.
Oh, this is super bad.
Super,
uh,
super, super bad. So that's
no,
why
I mean,
next week we will see new source of energy and new source of transportation because it's better to end up with all that. I mean, we have to decontaminate, but not to go on. So this is exactly the program of next week. But we have a little preview here, right here. Now,
I
plus
just
those
want to
waste, they always end up where? In so-called developing countries. That is where I live, for instance, which is South America.
They do have a Nobel Prize after the founding of this kind of materials, and they created this materials and they use it for a bad purpose, not a humanitarian purpose. Is They created Nobel Prize, and then so they can basically use it for better way. But it's still until now, with all this effort, still we see people fighting for that, and they don't really mention it, and they're just trying to make money out of uh, humanitarian issues, and it's bad.
Yeah. And of course, it goes with this
Uh,
nuclear weapon. I mean, zero nuclear weapon as well. It goes all together. Fariha, oh, thank you. Thank
all
you
right.
so much,
Thank you so
guys.
much for big amazing thing.
I just love to dig
You're
for these
fantastic.
amazing things and
Yes, you are
initiatives to share
fantastic as
with the
well.
world. We make a fantastic team.
Thank you,
Kausa?
Farida.
Um, when you say contamination of oneself and detox, when I was talking to you earlier before, you mentioned you had this only subject for so many hours, and I do believe this subject can take forever if we really need to talk about. But just to mention the cup of water with lemon, people think lemon is acid, but lemon with water make the body alkaline, and
Yeah,
alkalining the water.
alkaline. And we need an
Yes,
alkaline body.
alkaline body, exactly. Alkaline water can detoxify the body every day. We can just squeeze a lemon or do it the way that it is in the picture. Just slide it, put two slice of lemon in the cup, and utilize the strong effect of lemon as alkaline diet, physically and emotionally, cognitive, physics, and spiritual. I mean, we did mention this maybe in the second pillar when we talked about the self care, about the importance of everything around us and the effect of it. And it's so important to work on the mind and the spiritual level of consciousness. When we did talk about this, we realized the spiritual level people nowadays think more spirit is free from religion, because the religious people have already a path and they want you to follow, while you think about spiritual level of consciousness, you create your own path and you grow up in different consciousness, and this is what we're trying to obtain at the end, just a higher consciousness, respect each other, and live in a harmony with each other, no matter what it is. So, emotional level, especially after all what happened the last 2 years, it was so strong on all of us, economic wise, and in quarantine time and all this. But really, I think God has a purpose for all this. I mean, even with the hard economy, even with all this situation that happens to us, we really found ourselves more because we had more time to sit alone and think. We had more time to connect to ourselves and work in our emotion. And I really see the shift lately, the last year, and from doing all this online with people, I realize how strong is they're going up into consciousness and into a higher spiritual level just by thinking about that. Money cannot buy you health, cannot buy you happiness. I mean, we really need to think about more, detoxify our emotion and our mind, just by thinking more positive, by being more kind to each other and all that. So we can talk a lot more about the subject. It's my passion. So we can keep going.
Yeah. If there is something you can remember from this program, decontamination starts with oneself.
Yes.
You are right, Kausar. We did 10 hours in Spanish on this subject. But detox your body. We are full of metal pesado, heavy metals
Yes.
and toxic. Emotional, some relationship are toxic or we have toxic emotions. Be careful with that. Cognitive, sometimes you have some concept and it's not true. Just investigate, do your research because we have to detox sometimes some old, cheap, or old belief we don't need anymore. Psychic, psychic. Sometimes we have some, like, how would I say nicely? Some dark stuff like gluing on us. So we have to clean all that. Please Google how to do that. I can give you a quick tip. Take a shower with some salt and it will help to get lighter. And spiritual, sometimes some concepts or some things we were told, we have to look for the truth ourselves. So that's a good plan and a good agenda we can follow. And if there is some interest, we can do more program on that. I really like this subject too, because contamination, I repeat, start with oneself. It all together. And of course, take
Yes.
action outside. Bioagriculture.
Okay, the bioagriculture is different than, well, what's the difference between this and that? In old days, the agriculture used to just study the earth, the soil, the air that we were talking about earlier today. But when we say bioagriculture, they do study it right in the spot, because the time when they take the thing out of the ground to take it to the lab and study it at the lab, they would use some nutrition or some value out of it. They're not fully energized anymore. They lose certain frequencies, they lose certain information. So when we do bioagriculture, we study the plant right on the spot. So we bring the lab into the nature and then we study it right into it in the spot. So, and this is what we really were missing before. So we missed some information and we skipped it because we didn't realize that when we were doing that, we were losing some information.
And the other one is, we can see the video afterward. So you have
Okay.
time to but we have two video and the other video is about generative agriculture, which is one step further. I really liked it too. And it's quite complete. Oh, we have to mention the vertical farming. Do you know what?
Yes.
I know some people they don't agree because Mother Earth and we don't touch the soil and all that. But it's a very good solution meanwhile. Because one,
Mm.
there is no pesticides, no preservatives, you use much less water, and there is no land abuse. With a small piece of land, You can have
Yeah.
crops for the entire town, and it's called zero
Yeah.
transport as well, or 000 method, meaning you can have your this one, the previous one, your vertical farming inside the town. So the
Mm.
market will be right here. You don't have to have transportation and the
Yes.
cost of the contamination of the transportation as well. So I think meanwhile it's a bright idea. It can feed a tremendous amount of people. It can feed like a good farm could feed 100,000 persons. And there is a lot of information on the website. And the land, because now the land has to rest, so you don't have to use huge amount of land. It's the amount of one building. That's all. So in heavy, how do you say, dense populated countries or areas
Yes.
or towns, it's a pretty good solution meanwhile. And oh, at the end we will see a little video on the bees as well. How the we need the bees.
The
We need
bees.
all the
And
animals,
we
all the
realize,
insects, all the
we realize
everything.
the bees, after we start using the 5Gs and 4Gs, we realize the bees life change, and then we start losing a lot of vets because they do flow based on the frequency itself. So they
Correct.
know how to go way far distance, and they come back at the same way of that they use the same road as we speak. So changing the frequency on the environment affected them big time, so they got lost, and most of them died.
So be aware of that as well.
Yes, yes.
And maybe Giovanna, you want to be back with interconnectivity,
Yes,
Artemis Institute.
I'm here again. Yes, I love
Yes.
this one. Yes, I love this one because this HeartMath Institute is doing this research with trees, and
Mm.
this project actually they have sensors that are installed in the trees, and they have been doing this in Red Oaks and different locations in California campus. They said,
Mm.
and they saw that the trees have different electrical patterns. They say
Wow.
that like humans, they have a circadian or day night rhythm like us, and they can also elicit positive feelings in humans when we are around them, when we are near them. And also that of course the trees provide earth with oxygen, and also they clean our air, so they are very important for us, isn't it? And I love how these they are doing all these projects, and the way that we can interact actually with trees. They are trying to find all these ways. So, and they are trying to continue with this project to see how trees interact with us, how they can change and actually affect our mood. And we have talked about that a little, when we talk about grounding, and when we talk about walking in our garden for healing. Our ancestors knew that if we were near the trees, we were close to them, and actually touching the earth, that those energies that we talk about, that Noemi was talking, and when talking about the contamination of ourselves, earth is the one that helps us, like take from our body all that kind of energy. Actually, energy is just it's what we are, and actually we have one kind of energy, and other times we have another, and earth actually helps us, and the trees are the same thing. So they are trying to find more about that, and also how they can improve for example, the ways of preventing earthquakes. Okay, so I'm thinking that this may be a very great project. Yes, and Noemi also, they're trying to explore how people and trees are energetically connected, as we said, how trees are affected by human emotions, and how people is uplifted when the biofield of the trees, with the biofield of the trees, and how
Mm.
can trees can inform us about approaching earthquakes, because they are connected as well between them underneath the earth. So I'm thinking that this is a very very nice project to consider for for our future humanity. And you can see in the sides the sensors that they use. Yes. And also, Noemi, I was remembering when we're talking about trees. I remember this friend that and some people that says that can connect with trees and can connect with true telepathy with the elements. So
Yes.
when you see that one institute like Harvard Institute, it's finding out about the energy. You can definitely corroborate that these people that works with telepathy and all of these new talents that humans will have, or that we do have, that we are kind of in order to find more about it. You can see that. I remember our friend Lydia Lucena in Spain, that she does all these connections with the elements and with trees through telepathy. So thank you.
Mm.
Thank you for letting me talk about that.
Actually, in our peace culture program, we
Yes.
invite everybody to. Well, the goal is to plant 1,000 trees per year with the
Wow.
community, with the school, with your neighborhood, and that's part of the peace culture program. Trees, native tree, not imported or exotic,
Yes.
native
Yes.
tree
Yeah.
that it's good for your environment, and it's part of the peace culture program. Yeah, trees are so important, and it's healthy, and it's healing. When you plant a tree, you heal yourself. That's the beauty of it
We
as well.
we realize so many stories about the trees and nature and herbs on the Bible or on any religious book, connecting the glory of certain plants into ourselves from bay leaves. They use a lot of bay leaf for honoring someone, and to different trees, especially olive trees as well. They do honor yes, certain, tree types or tree kinds. But what you were saying too, I have mentioned maybe this before. I'm not sure if it's in this program, but the cedar trees, they do have different aura. When we talk about the aura for every single items, and we realize the aura of the trees from different kind of trees. The aura of the cedar is always purple at the edge, and it has the higher frequency, and that's why just sitting and being there around us, it's gonna take you it's gonna uplift your energy. So really, as you were mentioning, between one tree into another, it's very much the same from me and the tree, because I connect myself to it as well too. So that's why you see a lot of people hug the trees. And this
Yes.
is
Yes.
something that we really love. I really love that too. You need to
Yeah,
put
that's
your
why
heart.
cedar trees are in
You really need to
Lebanon,
put
in your
your heart
country.
into it. Yes,
In your
yes,
country,
exactly.
and
So,
Siberia. There is a book, the Cedar Trees book by Vladimir Megre, and you will see all the thing about the cedars.
wow.
Oh, that's
It's
really
called
nice.
That's wonderful.
Anastasia, Vladimir Megre.
Okay.
This
Yes.
is another
Oh,
slide
this is
Wow.
about,
beautiful.
this is amazing. This is a university in Thailand, in Bangkok. The roof, this is the roof of the university. Can you see it?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And farming, of course, bio farming, and
Mm-hmm.
they recuperate the water, and they show the community, and they have the food for the entire university the entire year. So it's a way of farming inside the town, and invite university to give the example. I mean, that the responsibility of university and schools to show people it's possible. So I really love, it's called Tamasat University, and it's called Urban Roof. or rooftop farm.
Wow.
It's a beautiful project, so beautiful. And for the student, they have to farm, and this is so healthy for them. It's healing, and they reconnect with earth, and they can then go back to their community and show something that they can do. That's, I mean, at all level, you it's a win-win situation here. So please investigate Thamma Sat University, or just you put rooftop or you put green roof University, Bangkok, Thailand. Asia is
Wow.
pretty advanced, and we want to invite as well the all the architect. It has to be green by now or have smart building. What we mean by smart building, it's a building that provide more energy than using energy. Let's say provide electricity because they have their I do say the cells, photonic cells, the
Mm-hmm.
panel cells or
Mm.
the solar panels, but not only solar, there is other way. And they have zero waste, zero CO dos, and zero poverty. It's called 000 building or 000 building. So this is of course from my favorite architect. I know you saw
Wow.
him last week. It's called Vincent Cayebo, and he has a lot of proposal with
Wow.
engineer and architects going together to have this smart green building. And I have to mention the number one country. Do you know which country is number one in green architecture? I will, you can put it in my comments or ask you. Which country in the world is green architecture?
Let,
And actually, it's a
let me
country with no
Google it.
land, which is amazing. It's a
Oh,
quiz. Check in on your cell phone.
Singapore. Not
Country.
Singapore.
1, 2, 3.
Maybe
Beep beep beep.
not a Singapore. No. Oh, Singapore.
Singapore.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
wow.
Bravo, Kausar. Do you want to read about Singapore, please?
Yes,
Oh, Singapore government launching the Green Plan 2020, 2030, the whole of nation movement to get every Singapore on board, getting everyone motivated to help transform Singapore into a glowing global city of sustainability. Oh my goodness, this is gorgeous thing.
yes.
Gorgeous
It is
news
gorgeous.
as well too. Yes.
The architect of Singapore, actually, we have a nice friend, Priya. If she sees us right now, we say hi and greetings to you, Priya. And they have the certificate, so it has to be green buildings. And that means
Oh
very
gosh.
advanced. And I really like it. Look at this one. Wow, this is a hotel. So
Wow.
I think the Royal Hotel.
Wow.
Gorgeous. Oh,
Beautiful, beautiful. And there's a new thing I just learned about it. See, it's an ongoing learning. It's called biophilic architects. You
yes,
want to
Uh-huh.
read
yes.
that as well? This is a concept with, it's more for health, but I would say this is very interesting. Who wants
Yes,
to read?
biophilic design. Biophilic is a word from Latin as well too. So they're trying to get the nature, loving nature. So biophilic design and architecture aim at creating a strong connection between nature and man-made environment, and has proven benefits include helping office worker be more productive, encouraging children to learn, and helping hospital patient get better. So we talked about this last week actually about that too, because they're trying
Yes.
to create a healthier environment. And the first company that tried this and realized this is really helpful, it was Google company. So they started adding more time to the people over lunch, and so going into meditation rooms and having more green area for them. And it was the first project that they started with this biophilic architect thing. It's an amazing thing, really. What can I do? Yes.
So this is all yours, Kausar.
The food you eat can either be the safest food and most powerful from the medicine farm of medicine, or the slowest form of poison. What we mean here is the contamination of the pesticide, and even though it goes in parallel contamination, and it goes in organic and what you call the change of an form of the grain. We call it what we call it now. It slipped off my mind, but just trying to eat more fresh vegetable, and really what we call fresh, like what you were saying, by the vertical plants, so to get it really fresh from the source at the minute that you wanted to eat it. It has a lot of source of energy to it, and eat more nuts and healthy stuff. And this is gonna keep you away from the doctors, really way far from being sick, and try to cut fat, and eat at least 70% of your diet have more green and fresh. Next one. Oh yeah, here, hypocrite. Hypocrite. We all know about he's the father of medicine, and he always. I have this picture, big pictures inside, actually, a big huge one. Let people be the food be the medicine, and the medicine be the food. So when we say that, we really wanted to realize the importance of clean organic food to the body, to eliminate all the toxic from it. So really keeping the green around you all the time, and just eat it healthy meals every day. It's gonna keep you away from a medication. We realize, and we talked about this so many times, the pharmaceutical company, they're just trying to make money out of us. They don't really care about your health as much as you care about it now. So go back to yourself and think about it twice. Go back to what you have learned in chemistry and biology and all that, and realize what the medication has in it for you, and see if you can get the same supplement from the food. Don't take vitamin C if you know that you can take it from the orange. Don't take vitamin B if you can take it from different vegetables. So try to keep your health, just maintain it by just eating healthy food, and especially organic food. And instead of saying organic food as an exempt, view it as an investment in your health, and donate toward a safe and better world. When you buy organic food, you're gonna get the farmers to grow more. But if you really think that you're trying to save some money buying regular food, regular vegetables, and not buying the organic vegetables, first of all, you're cutting the organic farmers from producing more. Second of all, you're getting all the contaminated vegetables that already, I mean, the vegetables get it into your body, and this is how we start having the health spam and health issues from all this pesticide.
Yeah, and you can see it as a donation to this brave farmer who is dedicated his life and her life to grow
Yes.
organic, to have a good soil, to respect
Uh,
earth. So see it as a donation. I love it.
well, you
So,
know,
yeah.
Giant is a big grocery store in the state. Last year, last couple years, when I was still in the state, they have a big sewing case. They sue them. One of the ladies, she used to sell her organic vegetables to Giant as an organic vegetables, and they realized that that lady, she buy them from somewhere. She just wrap them and put a sticker on them and just sell them as organic. And then when the people realized that she has, I mean, they sue her, and she got entrapped for that. So here, the next picture. What would happen if everybody ate lots and lots of fresh organic food that was minimally processed? I think we have an epidemic of health. Yes, yes. And I really love that because, after all what we have gotten through, especially lately in our life, we realize the importance of our health, especially when after all this, the last couple of years, we have seen so many people dying. And then the fear they create from all that into us. There's so many diseases around us, and people die every day. But the fear that they create from all what happened lately, it can really open up all this subject to really think again of our health from different perspective, and really saying that just it's a simple thing. It's not that hard to eat healthy and exercise and watch over what you have taken. Read the prescriptions, read the details on every single thing, read the side effect of the medication, know why the side effect comes in orders, know why the medication is a patent, and what's the difference between patent medication and the over-the-counter what we call it, a generic medicine. So all that I can explain it to you in a later episode if you really wanted to know more about this. But this thing is really very important to learn more about this subject and learn more about organic, and why when we talk organic food here, and the contamination process that the people wanted to grow more vegetable using all this kind of material to inject the vegetables and the fruit to grow more because of the population. This wasn't the choice. This is not really it wasn't the case. We get all this kind of problems just because of that. So we were not thinking right. So we're going back into our senses and trying
Mm.
to stop that and just going back to a healthier lifestyle.
Yes.
And dear Casa, why we will have an epidemic of health? Because our body is going to be alkaline again. We go back to
Yes,
this.
yes, alkaline
And
body.
if your
Yes, yes.
body
This
is
is a main
alkaline,
keyword.
you are immune to everything. So it's so
Yes.
simple. Immune, I repeat, immune to everything. As well, if you have a good breathing techniques, you know how to breathe correctly and get the prana from
Yes,
the air, your body gets alkaline too through
yes,
breathing. And remember, if we do the detox, the physical one, emotional one, the cognitive one, the psychic one, and the spiritual one, the body will go alkaline. So
alkaline
that's a
again.
very good idea.
That's
I
Very
important.
tell
happy
them.
about that.
I just want to add something to that alkaline thing. When we do, when we keep the body alkaline, it's like nowadays we keep everything in the fridge, okay, to keep it good. And the old days they didn't have a fridge, and they didn't have a problem. They didn't get toxicated, just because the body was alkaline, and then everything around us was used the same way that we're talking about it now. It was fresh.
Correct.
We didn't keep
Uh,
anything in the fridge for the
Correct.
second day. We didn't keep anything over the shelf for so many days. And the new rule of the thumb, as we call it, anything stay over 7 days over the shelf, it has some kind of material, molecules or structure in it that can keep it over the counter or over the shelf for so long. That means it's gonna harm us. So if we really wanted to stay away from this, we really need to eat healthy and need fresh food most of the time.
Yeah.
So this
And
is rule of the
exercise.
thumb.
And
Yeah.
exercise.
Yes, yes, yes. If you think organic food is expensive, have your breast cancer later.
Have you?
Oh my gosh, this is
Correct.
really what's going on here. I mean, we realize the cancer patient suffer a lot from all this kind of treatment, not only the cancer alone. The treatment itself is killing. And it doesn't when they have chemo or when they have the treatment, it doesn't kill only the cancer cell, it kills everything around it too, and it affects the immunity, and the immunity goes down, and the patients suffer a lot. And don't even mention the emotional level, the mental level, the whole family, and beside all that, the expensive of all this kind of thing. I mean, now lately in Lebanon, we have all this crisis. We don't even have the medication for cancer, and you know how expensive is that.
Hmm.
Just by saying that, we have realized from so many years before, maybe I don't know, 5, 6, 10 years. I cannot remember now. It's more than 10 years. They did have a medication for cancer. They don't want to put it in the market. You know why? Just because they're making a lot of money from these people. And so you think the government care about us? Not at all.
And that's why there's so many,
So we really need to care about
yeah.
ourselves. Cancer is the main key of free radicals. Free radicals come from pesticides, from
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah. Every time you buy organic, you are
Persuading.
persuading more farmers to grow organic. This what
Yeah.
I was saying earlier. So
Yeah.
imagine how beautiful is that. I mean, growing fresh vegetables. It doesn't with a clean soil, and just taste the food is really different. You know, the contaminated water. If you water your soil with contaminated water, you're gonna taste the tomatoes or the cucumbers. It's way different. And I realized that, but when I was away from Lebanon, I used to think, oh my gosh, the cucumbers here taste so good. And when I buy it in the state, I always think about it back here. Oh, our cucumber in Lebanon, it's tastier. And when I moved back here and I tasted again, I was like, oh, no, it doesn't taste the same anymore. And when we realized that over 1,200 farmers, there were only 13 farmers who did really water the plants with the clean,
Water.
non-contaminated water. So it was a disaster for me to just know that the most the vegetables that we eat is contaminated. You know, and
Mm.
this is really bad.
But there's a lot of markets now, isn't it? Like farmer markets. That's what I
Yes,
noticed as well.
yes, yes, yes,
So
and
yes.
well, yeah, yeah,
In
exactly.
United States, we I mean, I have seen so many farmer markets, and then and I like, sometimes I like to go there and get my food and throw it there. But mostly the people that thinking that it's convenient, we go to the big grocery stores, of course.
Yeah, yeah. And especially, you know, we talked about the Amish people last time. You know, the Amish
Yes,
people still have the good organic vegetables, and even though it's not a MGO too, so it's a real fresh ones, the real ones.
yes,
Try organic food as your grandmother or grandparents call it food. And this is what I was saying earlier. I used to eat the cucumbers. I used to go with my grandparents to their small farm right next to the house. They grew their vegetables just to eat it over the summer, and they used to make a lot of it over the for the winter time because they don't grow things over the winter. It's so cold here and a lot of snow. So they do put it in a jar, and they make it pickles, or they do make it dry, and they just use it over the winter time. Nowadays, you can eat the tomato all over the season. You can eat cucumber all over the season. So the farmer changed the whole perspective, and now the technology is applying all that as well too. So it's a beautiful thing, but we just really need to think more about our health, and look at the farmer from different perspective. The most vital thing in life is food. You can't eat money. Yes, that's what we were saying. I mean, especially at the economic stages when everybody was thinking, they cannot get what they used to get money wise on their job. There's so many vacancies. There's so many. People they don't want to even go there because the gas is very expensive, and the rent is more expensive than any time before in the state and everywhere. Not I'm not only talking about here in Lebanon. Even my kids in the states still, and I go visit them more often. I realize all the prices went up, with the gas market. So
Yes.
people think more about their health now about than money. So they consider the money. It's not only the issue; it's the health concern more. So having clean air, having clean soil, having clean water, clean vegetables, and alkaline diet. I can summarize all what we have talked about it today with that. It doesn't, you cannot buy this with money. Yes, thank you so much for all that.
Thank
Um,
you.
Oh, thank you
and
to you, and thank you to the whole team. That was
yeah,
a lot of information, right?
yes, thank you
Yes.
We
so
still
much
have the
again.
video, Kausar, but we know you have to leave. I don't know about your time right now. We
Yeah,
have three
I
beautiful
really have
videos
to
on
go.
agriculture
I,
and the bees.
I really wanted to thank you again for being with us today because we missed you from last time. And I wanted to thank Giovanna for her beautiful help and amazing help for the last 2 weeks without you. And I really wanted to let you know anytime you can email me, you can talk to any one of us because we're all knowledgeable with all this information and details. We're working as a team. I love you from my heart. And I really wanted to leave you now in peace. So
Thank
see you
you.
next week. See you next
Thank
week.
Thank
you.
you.
Love you.
You take
Love
care.
you.
See you next week. Next week we have this
Yes.
important subject. It's about alternative source of energy and
Yes.
cleanness of transportation, which is exactly the
Yes.
follow-up of this program.
That's a
Yes.
great
Forward to
subject.
See you.
that.
Have a good
Bye
time.
bye.
And
Bye bye.
Bye.
the other person, stay, please. We have beautiful videos.
Yes.
Thank you,
We
Kausa. Thank you, everybody. Shall we start with agriculture?
yes, sure. Let's go. Let's go.
Tell me if the sound is okay and if everything is okay.
Organic agriculture,
Okay,
while
perfect.
not as bad. Regenerative agriculture is a
Perfect.
set of farming practices that increase biodiversity in soil
Okay?
organic matter. Currently, most agricultural practices are devastating to biodiversity. Even organic agriculture, while not as bad, still does more harm than good. Regenerative agriculture is a way to reverse this trend to actually make a positive impact on the land. So what does regenerative agriculture actually involve? Answering this question is actually pretty tricky, because the practices that work best largely depend on the land that's being worked with. So the variety of different practices border on infinity, a bit more than this video can cover. However, let's look at 3 common forms that regenerative agriculture can take. The soil is full of organisms which are helpful for plants. Some convert soil nitrogen into a plant-usable form. Some bring water to the plants that would otherwise be out of reach. Others loosen and aerate the soil, increasing water absorption and allowing plant roots to penetrate deeper. When soil is turned over by a machine, most of these organisms are killed, so the crops must rely on chemical fertilizer, which ends up leaching into the water. Central to no-till farming is to not do that. Instead of tilling, plant cover crops whose roots break up the soil. Let the worms aerate the soil and bring down nutrients. Keep the soil covered with an organic mulch, which will break down over time, adding more organic matter to the soil. From the release of methane to clearing forests for pasture land, cattle raising is known for being very environmentally destructive. But this is not inherent to grazing animals. If the right practices are put in place, enormous amounts of carbon can be sequestered into the ground, soil can be built, and even desertification can be reversed in a matter of years. Here's how it works. The growth of grass tends to start slow, accelerate, and slow down again. This middle area is where it accrues the most biomass the most efficiently. If it's eaten before it gets to this point, its growth will never speed up. This is what happens with traditional pastured animals. They eat all the grass, which doesn't have the chance to grow back fast enough before getting eaten again, and we have overgrazing. This leads to soil erosion, drought, and desertification. But if the animals are kept in a tightly packed herd, like they used to be in nature, the grass has time to grow before being eaten. All that biomass in the grass is carbon that comes from the air. Not all of the grass gets eaten, however. Some of it gets pooped on and trampled, which ends up creating the perfect conditions for new topsoil to be built. This ends up happening incredibly quickly. This is one of the most complex and location-dependent practices there are. I will therefore be overgeneralizing a bit. It always starts with observing a local forest and the relationships between everything in it. The plants, the animals, the fungi, the landscape, the soil, the water, and then recreating these relationships in a way that's just as ecologically resilient, but produces more food. Food forests are often thought of as comprising 7 layers: the root layer, the ground cover layer, the herb layer, the shrub layer, the low tree layer, the high tree layer, and the vine layer. Every one of these layers either produces some sort of food or medicine, or is in some way helpful to the system as a whole. The plants are mostly perennials and include as many native species as possible. These 3 examples of regenerative agriculture, plus all the rest of them, all have something in common. Whereas in conventional agriculture, you seek to create as many of one thing as possible, in regenerative agriculture, you seek to create as many relationships between things as possible. You are one of those things. What sort of relationship with the land do you want to foster?
Interesting, huh?
I love it. I love it. It's incredible. That's what we were talking about, no-till farming, and then, the agroforestry. That's one thing that I definitely love. It's the closer thing to show us our relationship with the all our environment in between us too. So
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
incredible. Do you have more videos like this? Wow.
You have one on agriculture. Do you want another one?
Yes, we can go ahead
Okay,
and
let's go
see
to the
one.
other one then.
Perfect.
No single answer, but there are farm or ranch more sustainable. There's no single answer, but there are common practices used by producers across the country to improve profitability, quality of life, and environmental stewardship. In this episode, we'll take a look at ecological pest management. As farmers, not much ranks higher on our list of headaches than pests. For decades, pesticides were seen as a cheap and effective solution, but they're not a silver bullet. Pests that survive sprays pass on resistance to their offspring. Plus, they disrupt the farm ecosystem by killing non-target beneficial species, creating an environment where pests can thrive. More and more, we're turning instead to ecological strategies that apply principles from nature to the farm. The ecological approach has 4 goals: increase overall biodiversity, create a healthy crop habitat, dial back disruptive pest controls, and reduce off-farm inputs. To increase biodiversity, use rotations, cover crops and flowering species on the farm. Scout your fields and keep records of the pests you find. Work with the local experts to find plants compatible with your farm and management goals. A biodiverse farm will have more beneficial insects. This keeps pest populations lower because they face predation and competition for resources. Biodiversity also improves soil health. This leads to crops that grow vigorously and are better able to defend themselves. Pesticides and fertilizers are important tools, but they need to be used carefully. To preserve biodiversity, use pesticides as a last resort and start with the least toxic tactics. To avoid feeding weeds, use soil tests to match fertilizer timing and rates to the needs of the crop. Ecological strategies do much more than manage pests. You can grow healthier crops using fewer off-farm inputs, which is good for the bottom line. There's much more to learn about ecological pest management and sustainable agriculture. Start exploring today.
Yeah,
There
that's
is a word. How do you say poly farming when you grow different species at the same time and you rotate? This was done
diverse, probably diverse farming when you do different things,
in
but
español, polyagricultura.
poly
In the
agriculture
ancient
thing.
time, it was always mixed. I mean, monocultivation or monoculture or monoagriculture was not used in the ancient time. It was always mixed with others. So
Yes.
the plants would help each other, and the soil will be preserved, and the
And
pesticide was reduced as well. Interesting.
yes, and I have seen some videos that actually your friend Farid has sent to us as well. Showing us the agroforestry, and they are beginning to use this as either if it is kind of an expensive method, but I have seen in several of the I don't know, crop fields, you know, and they do that the agroforestry in one lane, in one lane, just doing providing windbreaks as well as this relationship between nature and trees. I mean, between all the species that are uh, compounding that.
Mhm.
Yes, it's very interesting how they are doing that. So, Noemi, do we have more information,
We
more
have the
details?
bees.
We have the
Let's
bees.
watch the bees. We can finish with the bees. It's so
Yes,
beautiful.
and
Maybe
that
a part of the video, maybe.
yes, that's great, because the bees are very important. They said that if we miss the bees, I mean, or the whole humanity will be in danger, because that's one species that keeps the balance, in all our world. So let's check the video, at least a piece of this. And are we gonna come back?
Species. In fact, the little flying
Yeah.
insects are a keystone species, one that other species in an ecosystem largely depend on for their survival. There are more than 20,000 different bee species around the world. In addition to being crucial for healthy ecosystems, bees play a vital role in food production. They pollinate a number of flowering plants, allowing them to produce fruits and seeds.
These tiny creatures are critical for our survival and our fragile environment.
But bee populations are declining. Habitat destruction, deforestation, climate change, insecticides, and diseases are all greatly impacting bee populations. Do you want to save the bees? There are a number of things you can do to help dwindling bee populations thrive. Here are 7 things you can do to help protect bees. Number 1. Don't use pesticides on your lawn. Pesticides, including insecticides and fungicides, contain chemicals that are incredibly harmful to bees and other pollinators. Some of the toxic chemicals found in pesticides have been suspected as links to colony collapse disorder, or CCD. This phenomenon occurs when honeybees abandon their hives and die off at high rates.
First and foremost, the collapse of bee colonies worldwide corresponds to the widespread use of neonicotinoids as pesticides. Bees who
Chrysanthemums can help repel a number of unwanted pests like spider mites, ticks, and cabbage worms. Lavender is known to ward off mosquitoes, moths, flies, and fleas. Plus, bees love lavender in bloom. Lemongrass, another favorite of bees due to its sweet lemony fragrance, can also help to repel pesky pests like flies and mosquitoes. You can grow catnip in your garden to keep ants, beetles, aphids, and cockroaches.
Let's see.
Oh,
We invite you to watch the whole video. It's so interesting. I will give you the link.
that would be great. Like this matter of how to take care of our bees, that would be important, because we usually do that. Like they are seeing that most of the pesticides and most of the chemicals that we use in the garden sometimes. Let's try to go back to before, when we weren't used to all these chemicals. uh, as I saw in this part of the video, that we can use several plants in order to avoid the insects in our gardens, like lemongrass and catnip, and also lavender. And I love the idea, like to have all these plants to avoid the insects and all these small pests that sometimes that are eating our gardens, but we need them, and we need the bees definitely. Yes. So what are we going to do, Naomi, for next week? We're
So we invite you, everybody, next week, the follow-up of this program. And it's so interesting. It's going to be about alternative source of energy, and clean means of transportation. And I'm so excited about it.
And this is part of our also of our green pillar. Yes, alternative.
And it's number 11.
Yes,
So we are cruising.
yes,
Thank you so much.
yes.
Thank you, the team. We have more slides of today. I will show you next week, and I will give you the link of
Of the videos.
the bees in comments.
Thank
See
you.
you.
See you. See
Take
you.
care.
Take care, all of you.